put a spotlight on causes that could use more global attention. That's what the royal tours are meant to do. That's not what they did. They put the spotlight on themselves and made themselves the biggest victims. In my opinion, it was to set the stage so they could show why they'd be moving to California, right, for their private life. But think about it. We just came off this video where I saw her being it's one of the most rude things I've ever seen. And that's saying something because she does tons of rude stuff. But I'm begging you, if you haven't seen this video, go watch it. It's important. Spread this around. Share it with everybody. Tell them to come watch. Because you really got a glimpse of how out of control her ego is and was on this trip, and again, remains to be. And then we had that interview where, again, steps away from a women's shelter and children's shelter, making it about herself. It's so crazy. And then, again, I'm stuck on this housing unit thing. And then 4 years later, decides all of a sudden, oh no, there was also a fire in the nursery. So people were outraged, rightly so, about this, pointing out, like, these are tweets from actual people in South Africa saying, oh, we're so poor, we don't have smoke detectors. Oh no, and it seemed to be belittling and trying to make more dramatic of a situation. Turns out Archie wasn't even in the nursery. Piers Morgan even tweeted out that basically Archie, he wasn't even in the room and nobody was harmed. Can you imagine the Queen whining about having to go to an engagement in this circumstance? Because that was her whole thing. The royal family's mean. They made us go do work because there was possibly a bit of smoke. Not an actual fire, it sounds like. Oh no. Oh my gosh. I mean, I'm no Sherlock, but even I can figure out, oh hey, South Africa. Okay, their seasons are opposite to ours. So their summer is from October to December. Guess when they were there? It was October 2019, or was it September? I don't know. It was around that time. It was around their summertime, 2019. So none of this makes any sense at all. It's just another way to play victim. Here's my opinion. My opinion is she just threw the story in as a way to get more drama out on her podcast. I've gone back to research and try to find any evidence that there actually was a fire. The only thing I found was her own security people kind of corroborating her story. But even that seemed vague. But I'm like, of course they are. They're on the payroll. They probably had to sign 50 pieces of paper saying whatever bullshit you come up with, they're going to have to go along with. It just doesn't make any sense. If you ask me, it's another dig at South Africa. It's another way to play a card. And it's another way to try to garner sympathy from people. And I'm just over it. I think it's disgusting how they treated everybody in South Africa and just the whole situation. So I do want to play this section from H.G. Tudor interview. Again, it's found on his channel. He did such a great job. I really enjoyed my conversation with him. I put part of it up here where I asked him a question. This is from the part where he asked me questions. This is on his channel. So I do encourage you, if you haven't watched it, go back and watch the whole thing. If you want to learn more about me and why I got involved in this, you can find it here. But he actually discussed why he thinks she pulled this crap. And it's interesting, and it goes into her narcissism. So I'm going to play this clip for you now. But stick with it because it is interesting. And then he goes into why Harry, because I specifically asked, why does Harry go along with this stuff? He gets into that too. So without further ado, we're going to take a listen to this. Here we go.
You neatly deflected to buy yourself a bit of thinking time, but I'm going to bring you back to what annoys you most about this one's wife.
All right, fair enough. How long do you have? I could talk for 4 hours, but
well, that would be lovely. But if you could condense it into a couple of minutes, that would be preferable.
All right, you're making me do all these tough things today, HG.
You've got to earn your corn, Jen. Come on. Now.
Okay, fair enough. It's honestly, it's so much about her. I would say it's more than the attention-seeking behavior. It's the need for constant admiration, believing that she's superior, and expects everyone to recognize her as such. Her inflated self-importance. I think she takes advantage of others to achieve what she sets out, her plans. Her lack of empathy toward everyone. I find her very, I mean, this is not groundbreaking, but I find her very manipulative and deceptive.
Hmm.
I am fascinated, as I mentioned, again, I tie everything back to Amber Heard and how they can lie like that and not, I mean, it can be about a small thing. Like, we married 3 days before when clearly they did not marry 3 days before. Why? I still haven't figured that one out. There's usually I can find,
Well,
even
what
if it
it's
doesn't,
about,
oh God.
why that happens, is that she operates in her own reality. Now,
Hmm.
sometimes that reality segues with the reality that you understand to be
Hmm.
reality. So, for instance, if you had the misfortune of spending some time with her and you pointed and said, "What's that over there? It's a tall thing. It's sort of grey brown and has green things on it." She would go, "That's a tree." And you
Hmm.
go, "Yeah, that's right, a tree." So you both see that similarly.
Yes.
But when it comes to behavior, she sees behavior through a distortion field of her narcissism, which causes her to interpret everything through the lens of control and the receipt of fuel. So what happens is when she's having that conversation, her narcissism, if you imagine it's an imp on her shoulder, it's whispering, "You need to get control, keep control, keep control, keep control." And one way of doing that is to say something that is provocative, to
Hmm.
revise history, to talk about something that might happen in the future but never will. So her narcissism, in order to keep control over the person that she was talking to when she was talking about when they got married, basically selected a revision of history. Imagine there's this keyboard in front of you with all these
Uh-huh.
different manipulations on it. And at the top of this keyboard, there's a screen saying, "Keep control." And it keeps flashing, "Keep control." Sometimes it says, "Get control." Sometimes it says, "Nullify control."
Hmm.
And the narcissism operates this keyboard. And what it does is it selects a manipulation. So she's having this conversation with whoever it is interviewing her about the wedding or whatever. And that screen showing, "Keep control, keep control." So her narcissism selects revise history. So she then says, "Oh, we were actually married 3 days before." In that moment, even though the evidence is that wasn't when they got married, she believes it in that moment. And it's not so much about telling the lie, it's about what does it achieve. It enables her to provoke a response which draws fuel and allows her to maintain control. So
Oh.
sometimes the response of the narcissist is utterly incongruous with what's going on. And
Hmm.
people go, "Why on earth did they say that? That just doesn't even make sense." Sometimes it's a lot more plausible, but that's what's behind it. So when she tells these lies, for instance, saying that, Archie almost burned to death
Yes.
in that South African heater fire,
Uh-huh.
again, that's done because her narcissism is basically saying, "Quick, think of something that's dramatic so that everybody will react to what you've got to say and they go, 'Oh, that's awful,' because that'll show that they're under control." So basically her narcissism goes, "Oh yeah, there was this huge fire, Archie almost got burnt to a crisp," or "Yeah, there was this guy who was at the Lion King premiere and he told me that everybody in South Africa celebrated when I got married in the same way as if they did when Nelson Mandela was released." She comes out with these porky pies, not because she
Uh-huh.
sits there and thinks, "What can I say that's a load of crap, but at least people will react to?" She honestly believes it because her
Hmm.
narcissism just selects that. So it's a little bit like, imagine, Jen, a film where there's a lady at home and the intruder bursts in and she falls backwards and she's scrambling to get away. And
Uh-huh.
she's trying to find anything to stop this beast of a man or this monster advancing on her. She picks up a pot and throws it at his head. She picks up a
Uh-huh.
poker and hurls it. And then her hands find a revolver, so she shoots him. The
Uh-huh.
narcissism is the same. It scrambles for whatever it can find to make sure that it gets that control and that fuel. So with her, because she's not that an evolved narcissist, and it also provides the likes of you and me and countless others great opportunity to ridicule her whilst pointing out what it is by saying, "Look at this nonsense that she's coming out with." So that's why she does it.
Thank you for explaining that so clearly to me. It's just, see, again, you're fueling my fascination. I think this is so interesting. So could
Yeah.
you tell me, why does Harry not say, "What are you talking about"? Do you believe it's the narcissist's control over him?
Two factors with Harry.
Hmm.
The first is that he is somewhat cerebrally challenged.